This episode of Kevin Pollak's Chat Show is being sponsored by Cards Against Humanity. Cards Against Humanity asked us not to read an ad. Enjoy the show. Welcome back once again to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, without my mug. Chat Show. It's episode 217. And I got to tell you, we have our second only, because we tweeted about who was going to be the guest, and you were kind enough to write some questions. I feel the need, not to throw this wonderful actress under the bus, but just to make it clear that we have our second out of 217 of these day of cancellation. She's going to be fine. I'm sure when they put proper fluids back into her system and she learns to stop evacuating from all orifices. No. Jo Beth Williams was kind enough to say yes and then got the flu. Sometimes in life, not just in show business, maybe it starts in middle school for those of you, junior high for the older ones. You devise a method to explain I have the flu in such a convincing way that no one can question you. And then there's the blatantly obvious, you don't have the flu. And then sometimes, you know, the person has the flu when you say, no, don't come to the studio, please. I don't want you sick. So please get better, Jo Beth Williams. She will be rescheduled and once again announced on the Twitter. We have a godsend, and
I thought her excuse was that they moved the tombstones, like the headstones, but not the bodies.
But not the bodies.
But not the bodies.
Yeah, no, the bodies are still there.
Yeah.
In Cuesta Verde? No, what is it?
Cuesta Verde.
Cuesta Verde?
Yeah. I thought that was the excuse.
The greatest pot-smoking mom in film. I mean, I just remember the first time. It's like that the mom and the family smoking a doob.
The parents are like just smoking up in the bedroom
until shit goes crazy.
Yeah, and I also love that she, whenever, I know, so this is things I would be talking about if she
listen, we've only got 19 minutes to spend with our actual guests. We're here at the Westwood One for our last show. I want to thank them for so very little. 3 shows and out. We pulled a Fetterman.
Yeah, we absolutely did.
Fetterman and out. We're missing Sam Levine. He's working on The Selfie Show. Check that out on the ABC network.
But I like it because he's not reading over my shoulder and like questioning everything I type.
Yes.
Which he likes to do.
Thank goodness.
So anyone, whenever you type something in the chat room, Sam Levine is watching and judging you.
Yeah, just so you know.
Judging you.
It's what he does. We always ask people to write to us at contact@kevinpollakschatshow.com. Please continue to write to us at contact@kevinpollakschatshow.com. I'm going to read one of them right now just to show you that we care. Evening, folks. I am writing regarding Mr. Pollak's invitation to comment a dislike about the program. The only dislike I have and shall voice is when the shot is on the guest only. A viewer can see what is going on behind the window in the booth. I am assuming it is a booth while the guest is talking. It is distracting. Otherwise, I have no dislikes. This show is the bomb, the A-bomb to be exact. I watch the show on YouTube when it is posted on Tuesdays. I always enjoy the banter between Senior Kevin and his hard-working co-workers and co-stars Ms. Jamie and Senior Sam. The conversations that occur on the chat show are just simply amazing and great to hear and watch as a fan. Reminds me a lot of the conversations that happened on City Lights back in the day. Hope you all continue to have fun producing a superb product. Continued success to all participants with the chat show. Signed, a fan.
Anonymous.
I know who you are. You know who you are. And here's the kind of power you have, a fan. When I introduce my guest in about 92 seconds, you will see that your
What if he signed it A. Period Anonymous?
anonymous, that'd be awesome.
That'd be
Your
good.
singular email affected a change on our third and last broadcast with the possibility of a booth being seen over the guest back. Josh Negrin, our very own, one of our producers, and JMac helped put it up, snapped into action. Some sweet duvetine. Some sweet duve. Please welcome my guest for this
say
evening.
something that only
Yes,
J-Mac
please.
Speaking about a booth,
Yes.
I'm going to say something that only J-Mac will appreciate.
Okay.
I'm coming out of the booth!
That's for JMac. All right, and that's your thank you for duct taping up the duve. Our guest did not know he would be on the show about 2 hours and 4 minutes ago. He saved us. He's a extraordinarily talented filmmaker and wonderful actor since his teens. I'll let him tell you the story because I'm sure he knows it better than I. Please welcome Senior Mars Callahan. Hello, sir.
How are you, sir?
First of all, thanks. Second of all, thanks.
Of course.
When you left my home last night, and none of your damn business as to why the hour was about 1 a.m., and you proceeded to drive home on, I believe, the freeway known as the 405.
Yes, sir.
Never mind how fast you were going. Not important. What happened then?
Well, it's important to know that I was not speeding at all. I was driving the speed limits. And
Sober as anyone can be with a chip of many years.
19 years.
Boom.
November 23rd will be 20
Beautiful.
years. Over the hill on the 405. Coming down the 405 right near the 101 interchange. All of a sudden, I didn't even see what I didn't see.
Right.
Because it just hit my car in the middle of the freeway.
Bolted from the evening.
Center lane.
Center of 5 lanes, maybe,
Yes,
at that point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Smashes the car right, like, and I don't know what I've hit. It just boom, and I'm in complete shock. It goes. I run over whatever it was I hit, and quite frankly, the first thing I thought of was so horrific because there's construction going on the 405, as we know in Los Angeles.
Till the end of time.
Yes, and I thought, oh my God, one of these construction workers was trying to cross the freeway on foot, and I've just killed somebody.
And then you think, am I going to do, which movie version of this am I going to
Right,
do?
I'm going to have to get you to come defend me in the court, in the courtroom, and get me off.
As it were.
Right.
I'm doing that now.
Next.
For those of you that can't see under the table.
Oh, so I managed to, and the car doesn't slide, doesn't spin, doesn't flip, doesn't do anything. I just over it, and then I managed to get the car off the freeway and pull into the Whole Foods parking lot.
Where else are you going to go at that point?
And
It's real there.
Yes.
It gets real in that Whole Foods parking
You're
lot.
talking about right off the Ventura.
right
exit.
where the 405 and 101 with that Sepulveda
Yeah.
Whole Foods, right?
Yeah.
The one that's tucked away to the side that nobody really knows about.
Sure.
And
But yet the parking lot is still a mess.
Always full.
Always.
Yeah.
not full at 2 o'clock in the morning,
No.
strangely. Except there were some vagrants there that tried to ask me for
Or derelicts.
things. Derelicts, absolutely, yeah. So anyway, all derelicts aside, I get out of the car. My car is totaled, as I have now found out. It's just completely destroyed, and I don't know if I've hit a person. I've hit maybe a piece of furniture that fell off a truck. I don't know, but my car is totaled. I'm checking myself to make sure that the actual adrenaline and shock of it all hasn't masked some sort of
The fact that you're losing a leg.
horrific injury. I'm fine. I have all my extremities. I'm fairly coherent, as you know, and I quickly call my dear friend Mark, and I say, hey, I just got in an accident. Can you come get me? He's at the Commerce Casino
Sure.
with Rob Eiler playing poker. They jump in the car, race over to come get me. I call AAA, and as I'm waiting for the tow truck, the police arrive.
Sure they do.
Squad car pulls up, 2 guys get out of the car, and I have to tell you, the 2 coolest cops I've ever met in my entire life.
Break number 1.
They were like the 2 cops from Superbad. I was ready to go do donuts in the Whole Foods parking lot after this whole incident.
Bill Hader and Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen.
Right.
Correct.
So,
And it was Panama. Panama.
Yeah,
That's the song.
exactly. And in
Sorry.
fact, that song was playing from the speakers of the Whole Foods parking lot. I felt I was in a time warp. But anyway, they get out of the car. First thing, the police officer says to me, highway patrolman says to me, he says, gets out. There's a deer on the 405 that's going to need your insurance information. Like perfect delivery, like comedic timing was absolutely better than I just delivered it, obviously, but brilliant. And I just broke the moment. I started laughing because I'm pretty shaken up at that moment.
Could they have seen it happen? I mean, how did they put that with you?
Apparently, when I hit it, there was some sort of commotion behind me.
Sure, a rolling deer. It
Police
sounds like.
officers got involved, and were called.
Some of them are
quickly.
lined up along the
Along
sides
the-
during
yeah.
the construction.
Sure. So they were
Holy
quick to
crap.
arrive, and they couldn't have been nicer. Got all the information in my car, destroyed, and unfortunately, I'm thankful if the deer goes over the hood instead of under my car.
You're dead.
I'm not sitting here right now. You're like, hey, Mars, can you do the show? And not only
Why aren't
does
you
Joe
getting
Beth,
back to me, Mars?
Not only does Joe Beth have the flu, but Mars is dead.
But my friend
right?
Mars is dead.
Like, doing this show has turned into a very, very dangerous fucking aspect.
And everyone just said, "Did you get Mars? Fucker died."
Yeah, he died on me. Supposed to do my show, dead.
He said last night
But we have great tape on him.
before we left, I'll do it anytime.
That's right.
I call him the one time, fucker's
Yeah,
dead.
yeah.
So, oh my goodness. So they're there. You got a nice little insurance report. They've got the deer. Because
Yeah.
it is a hell of a story if you go to the insurance and say, I don't know if it was a couch. I don't know if it was a worker.
Right.
That's a bit of a problem for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have apparently evidence and visual confirmation on the deer.
And a
It was
police
actually
report.
A police report on the deer. But unfortunately, the thing that now, obviously, my run good is fantastic because a million different ways from Sunday I could have not been sitting here. So I'm thankful that I'm alive. However, that particular car was a car that I had won in a poker game. And so I was like very sad to see now that car's no longer with us. It's up in car heaven somewhere.
You took poker winnings and went right to a dealership the next morning and said, "I want to know forever that this car was purchased with poker winnings."
It's Christmas in Las Vegas last year. I am alone. Sad.
Wait, let me cue the music. Cue the music and
I'm,
post.
I'm literally standing in a burlap sack looking into a frosted window, and inside that window there's a fireplace and a hearth and people,
And a poker game.
and people drinking eggnog and holding each other and loving, lots of love. And I'm out in the cold with snow and
Figgy toffee pudding, I think, is nearby.
I'm looking in at the happiness that other human beings have. I myself, Christmas is a Tuesday, and I am.
It's time for poker.
I'm in Las Vegas, and so I'm sitting there playing cards, and a gentleman from Macau shows up, and who I think invented money or something. I'm not really sure. He has his own money. No.
By the way he's playing.
Yes, so we're playing in a 5-10 games where the antes are $5 and $10.
Invented money.
And so $5, $10 when it comes to him, $1,500.
I'm sorry, 5, 10, 1,500?
Yeah, so $5, $10, he bets $1,500.
Also known as an overbet.
Correct. So we're all sitting at the game going, wow, this is interesting. If anybody wants to play, or 5-10, $3,500, 5-10, $2,800, 5-10, $800, but it's
Is
never.
he drunk?
No, that he's just extraordinarily wealthy, and
Wants everyone to hate him.
Taking
all comers.
It makes the game very interesting.
But isn't
like
this why
it's-
pros keep, or so the legend goes, at least $1 million in a vault at either Aria or Bellagio or Wynn at all times, so that when these knuckleheads show up?
Yes. So, being the fact that I I've been studying the pros because we're making a poker television series, and I've been doing a lot of research on all that. So I started trying to keep a few chips in my little vault at the Wynn and trying to sock them away for just such an opportunity. And the gentleman comes, and all of a sudden the game gets very lively. Sits down and bets. Now, this is a gentleman, I have to preface this by the fact that I've played with him now several times, and when he leaves, every single time he leaves the game, he'll take whatever loose money, 8,000, and put it in the center of the table and spin it like this and say, "Good night, gentlemen," and walk away. And that's the starting pot for the next hand that he's not going to be playing.
You know, you weren't wrong. He clearly invented money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and he does, and he says, "Good night, gentlemen," and he'll just
Spend whatever he's got on.
Whatever, just a knot of cash and throw it in the middle of the table and walk away.
Leaves a little for the valet parking. The rest goes in the pot.
Correct. As he's going upstairs to go to sleep in one of his,
17
Rain Man suites at the Wynn. So anyway, I'm there and I don't play a hand for a while because I don't look at anything decent, and all of a sudden, it's 5-10. He bets 2,800. Call, fold, call comes to me.
That's 4 people calling 2,800. That's 5 times 2,800. You are, as they say, priced in. You don't have a choice. Whether you want to play or not, is that 5 on your money or 6? I forget how they do that math.
I don't remember.
5 to 1.
I look at my cards and I see Queen 10 of diamonds.
Pretty enough.
So
what do you care?
I
You're
say,
priced in.
what the hell? I throw 2,800 into the pot. Flop comes 9 of diamonds. I'm sorry, Jack of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, 2 of clubs.
That just made it interesting.
It just makes it interesting.
The rest of your money's going in is how interesting it made it.
He makes it 8,500.
What else is he going to do?
One caller, everybody else folds, comes to me.
So on top of the 5 times 28, now it's 2 times 85 to you.
Correct.
Yeah, it's going in.
So,
did you beat the guy into the pot?
no, sir. I tank for a second.
Did you? Just for a little drama.
And I figure, well, what the hell?
Sure.
Maybe I'll dust off another 8,500 here, but I got to take a shot. Turn card is a 9 of spades, giving me the gut shot inside.
Sorry you didn't hit the flush.
Right. And
but it's a more real
it's
story.
actually even better because maybe my queen high flush isn't good. This is the nut straight. So
way better.
And so
Macau says
Macau shoves all in.
How much left?
Oh,
he's
he's probably got 280,000 in front of him. I have a measly $40,000 left in front of me or whatever, which I call with, and he turns over pocket aces. River's he's drawing dead.
Thank God he wasn't just being a dick.
River's a brick anyway, and he goes, oh, I see it, and she's a Chinese man named Willie, gentleman dressed to the nines, impeccably. I mean, a gentleman through and through. I've actually wound up having dinner with him in Phoenix months later with his lovely wife. And
if I may, everyone hopes you picked up the check.
I tried to, but he wouldn't let me.
Of course not.
He's really, really a class act, and he goes, oh, I see it, nice hand. And so I was like, thank you very much. I rake the chips, play a few more hands. I pretty much put the chips in the vault. The game breaks up shortly afterwards because he leaves and the game dissipates immediately.
Sure.
And then I literally the next day I woke up because it was Christmas, and I went to the dealership and I
where of course salesmen are waiting on Christmas Day.
I bought a Chrysler 300. It's the first time in my life I'd ever actually bought a brand new car.
With cash.
I never bought a brand new car in my life.
Well, it's a sucker's bet.
It is. And but this particular case warranted that I should do something interesting with this money.
Yeah.
And before I lose it back or anything else like that, so I bought the car. And the funny story with the car was that because it was Christmas, they were getting the year end. They had only a couple more days left to get their stuff, and they said the car is this, and it was a lot more than that I wanted to pay for it. So I said. I
have cash. I'll go across the street.
I take out the cash.
The bricks.
I put the bricks on the table, and the guy says, "I'm going to write a number down." So he writes a number down. And he slides it across to me.
Now he's in the movie.
And I go like this, and I look at the number, and I go, "You got a pen?" I go, "Now I'm going to write a number down." And I write my cell phone number down. And I said, "Here's my cell phone number. When the number starts with a 3,
instead of a,
give me a call."
Yeah. I'm taking the bricks.
So I take them all, and because I think it was like the sticker on it was like 47,000 or something like that, and I was like, I said, when it starts with a 3, tax license out the door, everything, cash, call me. So I start to walk out, and he takes the right in there, like, no, wait, let me talk to my manager. He goes, huddles up in the glass.
Let me talk to my manager.
Right, he comes back and he goes, okay. Here's the best I can do, 39999. I go, I have OCD. I'm like, the 9s bug me. I need everything to be even. And when it's 390000, we have a deal. And he's like,
fucker.
If I if I say yes to that, can I ring the bell? I'm like, ring whatever the fuck you want. It comes over, rings the bell, I get the thing, and they go, the only person that's ever done anything like this before was Floyd Mayweather.
Wow.
So who came in and bought.
Who bought a $14 million car?
He bought 40 of them with cash, but hopefully I'm in good company. So.
Yeah. We have maybe one or two, one for sure ring that Jamie wears that I get to say, or she gets to say, this was one. But a car, that's a thing. We drive, and then the deer says, fuck you, I raised.
The deer just destroyed my whole story. I used to have a story with my car. I was like, I now I'm sad. I don't have my story.
Well, being from Pennsylvania, I can't.
You've hit a deer or two.
Oh, I've hit many a deer.
Yeah.
Like, they come out of nowhere. It's like
It's why the deer hunter was shot there.
But no, they will really destroy your car. Like, it's like there's nothing you can do. They just like come out of nowhere, and it's like you try to stop, and it's like, nope, they just hit your car, and it's like, well, your car's destroyed, and there was nothing you could do.
Yeah, and with the insurance, what do? They just say active animal.
Also, like,
I don't know, but they.
Also in Pennsylvania, it's a lot of like I was going like a lot of like back roads that weren't like lit well.
Right.
Like that happens.
That
too.
more often than on the 405, a little less common.
Yeah.
With construction and crazy lights,
Crazy
5Ks
lights.
everywhere you look.
I was trying to shoot something there just because it was pretty lit.
You could get these horns that you put like on your
Deer horns.
Yeah, you can't. No, I'm serious. No, I'm serious. Like there's like these these like plastic horns that you can put like on your head, like above your headlights. That like when the wind comes through it, it like makes some sound that like distracts deer. I don't know.
I have a friend that spent 9 months in a coma because he hit a deer that went through his windshield.
That's how serious it is.
Yeah.
I have a horn in my car that goes, so I don't hit any clowns. Let me ask you.
I was telling a true story.
I know.
And you mocked it.
No mocking.
No, the mocking part was it really went baruga. That's the difference in the horn.
I first became aware of you after you'd done a whole lot of television stuff, including The Wonder Years, one of Jamie's favorite shows.
Which will never be on DVD.
No, the fucking music rights, right?
Those are the music rights.
Cocksuckers. Poolhall Junkies. I would love to hear, I know you've talked about it over the years ad nauseum, but please, if you wouldn't mind, you get your dream cast. Pretty much everyone you send it to says yes. Chaz Palminteri, Rod Steiger. It's Mount Rushmore. But then, you know where I got to go with this? Christopher Walken. So I first need, if you don't mind, the first, what you can remember of the first conversation between the two of you.
Sure.
Because I love what Chaz said, which is, I'm going to do your movie, kid, but I need to know you're going to pay it forward if some young filmmaker comes to you one day and says, do him this solid. That's pretty fucking beautiful.
No, he's unbelievable. Changed my life.
Yeah.
Both of them, both Christopher Walken, Chaz Palminteri, and Rod Steiger as well.
Yeah. You're 28, 27, how old?
So I write. I'm on television shows as a kid, and oftentimes, not on the Wonder Years, but on other shows, I'd say, really, who's writing this? Like, this is not how kids, junior high school kids talk. This is a little bit, cheesy or a little bit. That's not real.
Right.
And so they said, well, if you think you're so fucking smart, kid, why don't you write it yourself? So light bulb goes on, and I write Poolhall Junkies when I was 18 years old.
Having spent a day or two in a pool hall.
A day or two, yes. So I spend the next 10 years of my life knocking on doors, going to every studio, meeting, finance person, just meeting after meeting after meeting for years and years and years. And everyone says, oh, we love the script, it's great. Jonathan Sanger, who was a producer, amazing producer, who was the president of Tom Cruise's company, Cruise Wagner, and
right.
And he had optioned it at one point in time. He wanted to direct it. All kinds of people, had it, and it would come back to me and turn around, and no one could actually make the movie. So
Are you insisting on starring in it at that point?
No, I actually had written the role as the younger brother for me to play, and but over the years I started getting older.
Yeah.
So I said, well, here's the role. So they let Stallone star in the movie and write the movie, but they didn't let him direct it.
Right.
Chaz could write the film and star in the movie for Bronx Tale, but they wouldn't let him direct it. But nobody in the history of cinema has ever done, strangely, I mean, it's a sort of a strange thing to say, but no one's done what I did with this movie because, who is Mars Callahan? Still, I mean, who the hell? I'm like the lowest ranked person on the totem pole on this show. 217, I'm 217. So, like, there's way more people, tons more famous than me, richer than me, successful than me, box office draws bigger than me. And they say, nobody knows who the hell I am back then.
The idea of letting you direct it, star in it.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And so they said, get us this guy, get us that guy, and I'm like, listen, they said, we need a name. And I said, well, I have a name. My name is Mars Callahan. What the fuck's your name? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So this sort of struggle kind of goes back and forth. And finally, it's an amazing story. Christopher Walken gets a copy of the script. And it's even more amazing how he got the copy of the script, but I don't know if we have enough time for all that story because it's very amazing how he gets the script.
That'll be part 2.
But he gets the script, and he loves it. And he says, I'd like to speak with the writer. And so he says, Walken's going to be calling you
The agent
tomorrow.
says.
The agent says, it's a William Morris project. Rena Ronson is the reason why, one of the hugest reasons why the movie got made. I mean, she championed the picture. She was the head of Independent for William Morris at the time. It was an amazing woman and like really fought to make this movie happen. She gets it to Walken, and he says, okay, I want to talk to the writer. She calls me and says, he's going to call you tomorrow between 1 and 2 o'clock. Now, I'm living in a studio apartment in Hollywood. Like, this
Smaller.
studio is twice the size of my apartment. And I'm sitting by the phone, by the landline in my little studio apartment. And we had landlines back then.
Sure.
And every time the phone would ring, I'm, hello? No, I can't talk right now. I'm waiting for a phone call. I hang up the phone. I'm just like literally standing on my bed. I'm like, which is because the whole bed takes.
Well,
up
you
the
only
whole
waited 10 years for the call.
Correct. So finally the phone rings, and I don't want to pick up on the first ring. I'm trying to be cool.
Sure.
Hello? Is this Mars? Yes. Chris Walken here. I read your script, and it's great. A few things I want to talk about. You have time? Yes, sure, Chris. I have time. Whatever, And I'm trying not to be too, effusive and too,
He's already
crazy.
calling him Chris.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, well, he introduced himself as Chris. So anyway, so apparently he says, my brother was a degenerate pool player. I spent a lot of my childhood dragging him out of the pool hall, and et cetera, et cetera. I'm very familiar with this world, and et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, it's amazing. We talk about a bunch of stuff, probably about 45 minutes on the phone, and he says that he would like me to come to New York, and he's not agreeing to do the movie yet. He would like to meet with me first, but if I would come to New York, he'd love to sit down and talk with me and meet me. Fantastic, great. I'll be there. I'll be there the next flight. I'm literally jumping out of my skin, right? But I'm trying to be cool while I'm on the phone with him. So we're wrapping up the phone call, and he says, "There's just one thing." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "I just have one problem with your script." And I said, what's the problem? And he goes, well, on page 94, I grab a copy of the script. He goes, middle of the page. You see my line where I say, and apparently he's holding the script there, right, in his hands as he's talking on the phone, and as am I now. And he says, when I say, when you shoot the 9-ball, I really think it's more specific if I say, if you shoot that 9-ball.
Wow. That's his biggest problem with the script. His only problem.
I pause, because I can't believe what I'm hearing. And I say, let me get this straight. You read my entire script, Mr. Walken.
All due respect.
And not a bad way. You've read my entire script. You love the script, everything about the script. You're on board, everything. But you have the only thing that you want to change in the script is the to that. And he goes, yes, like I'm crazy, like of course. And of course, the comedian in me wants to go, Out of the question. I'm not changing nothing.
you.
Right? I won't work under these conditions, Like, but of course I'm like, yeah, sure, please, you can change it now. I'll get right on. I'll send you a copy with the that. No problem. He goes, great. Please come out. We'd love to meet. Get on a plane, fly to New York. He's doing James Joyce's The Dead off Broadway. I meet with his agent, a beautiful man named Gene Parsegian. I'm 28 years old. I am 10 years trying to make this movie. I'm just on cloud 9. And first of all, I have to say, when I hung up the phone with Walken, I did,
the craziest dance anyone's
kung
ever.
fu fighting in my one box of an apartment, jumping up and down.
But I got to say, I'm glad you mentioned that, because there are those moments that are in one. There are people in your life you want to share this with, and you can't wait to share them with them. But no one can understand the celebration of the in one other than the person who's going through it. So thankfully you took that moment for yourself.
It's amazing that you should say that, because this is a theme in my life. There's old cliches that say you come into this world alone, you die alone. You can be as close to people as you'd like. You can have a shared experience in the humanity of life, and etc., the exchange of ideas and thoughts and understanding and empathy. But you're alone. And all of these moments, and I have several of them, like footnoted moments in my life that are, dog-eared moments that are completely by myself, I can't share it with anyone, and I've become accustomed to. I'm like, because this guy's got an unbelievable sense of humor, and I'm like, really, and I'll share at the end of the story. I'll share that another one of those moments. But
you get on a plane, you go to New York.
But I do hang up the phone, and I do
There's
like
kung fu crazy.
Fuck, and I have to sit there for a moment and go,
this might happen.
This is enough. No, the opposite. This is enough. If this is all that happens, it's okay.
That conversation was amazing.
If this is all that happens with this project,
Yeah.
if this is the end of the journey with this, then this is okay. This is the win. I must take this win. And
you get this story for the rest of your life.
Right.
Christopher Walken asked me to do a rewrite, and I said, yeah.
So I get on the plane, I meet with Gene Parsegian. I'm absolutely on cloud 9, nervous, excited, every emotion you can imagine. And Gene says, I understand that you do a Christopher Walken impersonation. How'd you know that? He says, don't worry about that. He goes, please do not do Walken for Walken. He hates that. He doesn't like it. Please don't do Walken for Walken. I said, of course, no, no problem. There's 2 tickets. My producing partner was with me, Karen Beninati. We're on the plane. We go, and anyway, we go to a small off-Broadway house. He's doing James Joyce's The Dead, where he sings and dances.
Dear Lord.
Dancing great, singing meh. So
He's a hooker.
He's over.
He's unbelievable dancer and an unbelievable actor. Voice, I don't know, but genius. Anyway, I'm sit down. Ricky Jay is sitting in the seat next to me. I'm like, we're watching thing, and it's delightful. It's extraordinary, and I'm just loving every minute of it. Show ends. I get up. I ask, where's the backstage? Back there. Yes, he's expecting you. Please go in. I go backstage. It's actually fairly crowded. Bunch of people back there. Great show. Thanks. Well, but the whole time that the place is crowded, I'm standing in the back, kind of just hanging back. 28-year-old kid, just happy to be there. Just happy to be at the table. He's clocking me the whole time, right? He's like, yeah. He's looking at me, thank you, and everybody's looking over here. Room clears, and I realize that he's changed out of his costume into exactly what I'm wearing. I mean, down to the red scarf, black overcoat, black pants, shoes, hair. My hair, when I used to have hair, exactly. It was, and people had always said that I had reminded them of a young Walken in my career, and they would say, and so it was like looking at a portrait of Dorian Gray. It was freakish. Like, we called and coordinated. I mean, down to every last bit of wardrobe, perfect. Hair, perfect, same, exactly everything. And he extends his hand and he goes, Mars? And I go, yes. And almost like when we touched, it was like a dead zone moment or something, because when you hang out with somebody like from England and you kind of pick up a little bit of an English accent or something,
This one can't watch a movie without picking up an accent.
Right. Well, he's
It's the
he's a
most
genius. I mean, he's
No, but not
incredible.
impressions. It's an accent.
Of
You're
course,
right.
right.
You take on a
Of course.
mannerism.
Right.
It's the most irritating.
You hang out in the South, all of a sudden you're saying y'all and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, so he shakes my hand and he goes, and as he starts to speak and I respond, I'm responding completely out of my, control, like him. So he's like, Mars? I'm like, yes. He's like, did you see the show? Sure. It was great. Chris. He's like, wow, thanks for coming. Should we go upstairs and talk? I said, great. You hungry? No. Coffee? Sure. Go upstairs, sit down. 2 hours straight, me and Walken talking like this the entire time. I never break. And I'm like,
Is he smiling? Is there
he
any?
is over the moon. And I can only imagine, because we hit it off
Gangbusters?
unbelievable. Like two people that had
Long lost
that
family.
known each other in another life or
Yeah.
something, And I'm sitting there like, this can't be happening. This is going so well.
Yeah.
And then I think to myself, hold on a second. In the computer, it goes to the people generally like people that remind them of themselves, I guess. And so I'm faced with the fact that as we're wrapping up, that I've done now 2 hours in this character, and he thinks that that's the way that I am and speak and everything. And so now I'm like,
Oh shit.
and he says to me, he says, listen, I know I'm not going to be, he goes, I love everything that we've talked about. I don't want to be the only name in the show, in the movie. If you get one other actor that I like to work with, then I'll do your film. And he was actually the first person that I met in the cast.
Who said yes?
Who said yes? Who said potentially yes at
Yeah.
that moment. And so he said, who else are you considering? And I said, well, my number one choice for the other character is Chaz Palminteri. And he goes, oh, I love Chaz. If you get Chaz to do the movie, I'll do them. If Chaz says yes, I'll say yes. So I'm super excited, and I'm walking out to go tell this whole amazing
He's
story.
walking
Walking out. I got it too.
To tell this story to Karen Beninati, and I'm thinking to myself, how? First of all, if he says yes, how am I going to direct him in this movie and act in this movie opposite this
In
guy?
my own voice.
I don't want to be like Christian Slater and do like Jack Nicholson in the entire movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I got to actually
Yeah, you
carry
do.
the film, right? So I wind up meeting with Chaz shortly afterwards, and this is sort of to come full circle to what you said. When I met with Chaz about the film, he said, and Chaz is amazing. He's a teacher by nature. He's always disseminating knowledge and information. He's always putting somebody under his wing. He's giving of himself. He's a very generous person, and really a mentor of mine. I grew up, didn't have, great
Mentors.
mentors in my life, and so I would seek them out, and I'm very fortunate the universe sent me amazing ones. And so he says, I said, well, of course I used the leverage. I said, well, if Chris Walken said if you say yes, he'll do the film.
It's not a bad calling card.
And he goes, oh, I love Chris. I've always wanted to work with him. I haven't worked with him yet. And I said, well, that's true.
Here's your chance.
So I said, I'm talking about how I'm going to shoot it and the style and the look and the music and everything. And he looks at me and he goes, that's all great. And he goes, but so basically you're saying if I do the film gets made. If I say yes, Walken's in and the whole film gets greenlit. And I said, yeah. And I didn't have any body of work. I didn't have films that I directed to show these two giant talents and movie stars that I wouldn't make them look bad. That I wouldn't. Why did that Walken make that Poolhall Junkies movie? Like I didn't. That was a stinker. I didn't have Imagine they're taking a huge risk in their careers by lending their star
100%,
power to the
100%.
picture. And if I'm an unproven guy and I make a terrible movie, it's going to affect their money, their reputation, all sorts of stuff. So it's a huge, huge risk they're both taking. And Chaz looks at me and he says, "Okay, kid, I'll do your movie on one condition." And I said, anything. And trying to be cool too. Yeah, sure, what? And he goes, the one thing that I want from you is that one day when a young kid comes to you and you are in a position of power where you have the ability to lend yourself to one of their projects or do something to empower somebody else, you give the same break that I'm giving to you, you give that break to somebody else. That's what I want you, what I want from you. And to this day, when I tell the story, I get goosebumps because it's just so, like, there aren't people like that in our world. There are fewer and fewer people like that in our world today.
You know why? It's because he's Italian.
Italian. Palminteri.
There you go.
No,
Right?
that's why.
Yeah.
It's because it's like we're very like genuine, like
Family. And
like generous, like giving, like always putting people before us. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a...
it's in the DNA.
It is like you know, you always take care of your like people that are close to you. You take care of them first.
In terms of friends looking out for each other, you're a much better friend to any of your stinking rotten friends. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Take that, friends.
Yeah, so it was a beautiful...
J-Mac just gave me the finger.
So wait now. So let's jump, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You're on the set, speaking as yourself, and you're giving direction to Chris,
Yeah.
to Mr. Walken. The first couple of times, I mean, when does your sphincter relax?
Well, you know, people have asked me that. I was...
How many days did he work on the film?
He worked a week,
Okay.
and
And you were smart enough not to put it in the first week.
no,
You want to get your sea legs.
not the first week.
So when he finally comes in, you've been directing a movie.
Yes.
And you've been directing Mr. Chaz Palminteri,
For a week.
Mr. Rod
Yeah.
Steiger. You've been killing it. You've been starring in this movie.
Yes.
You might be feeling your oats a little bit because you earned it. You know, artists can flourish when they feel a sense of actual accomplishment by their own hands.
Yeah.
It's a fact. So when he steps in, you say,
Well, there was no time to feel oats. I mean, we shot this entire movie in 24 days. We were running and gunning, and had the Bond company looking over my shoulder because it was my first film. And when you make a film, for those of you who are listening who don't know about the movie business per se, there's an insurance company that puts a bond on the film. It's a completion bond to make sure that the film gets finished, that you don't get halfway through and then just fumble the ball and waste millions of dollars. So the bond company is literally right over my shoulder, and you know, micromanaging everything that I'm doing. Just you know, it's very, very challenging to make your first film because nobody trusts you, and rightfully so. You know, you don't have any way of proving that you have the skill to deliver the great campfire story that you're delivering on celluloid. So people ask me, weren't you nervous? You know, you're directing 3 legendary actors, particularly Rod Steiger. You know, Rod Steiger. When I could have been somebody, I could have been a contender. That line was said to Rod Steiger in the back of the car. They call me Mr. Tibbs was said to Rod Steiger in a film that he won the Academy Award for. You know, and here I am directing this gentleman, and I say gentleman because he was absolutely exquisite. God, it's so funny. I get emotional when I think about it. It's crazy. Very, very close. We were very close friends, and it's weird that came up right now. So 3 guys of huge and taking a chance on me and protected me and looked out for me and made sure that no one fucked with me. You know, even stood up to the Bond company and said, "Leave the kid alone," and etc. I mean, amazing, amazing experience, and but I didn't have time to be nervous. And the hardest thing to shoot when you're a director is around a dinner table or a poker table.
they say don't do it.
Or a pool table, because eye lines and continuity, and particularly on a pool table, you don't want one shot where the balls look this way and the stripes are going this way. And so all the continuity, you have to mark all the balls and pool chucks. So when you make a shot and the balls roll all over the place, you got to reset all the balls that were on the pool table, so you don't have balls looking like this in every other shot, right? So, and then I'm not playing a supporting character in the movie. I'm playing the lead character in the movie. So I have to carry the film, and then I have these 3 giants as my supporting cast, and direct the film. And there's one particular scene at the end of the film where we're all in the same scene together at the same time. So I have them all in the same scene, and Rick Schroeder and Allison Eastwood.
And it's weird that nobody with money wanted to let you do this.
Well, Hollywood,
Well, listen, there's 19.
we've made a million superhero movies, and they keep making them over and over again. They keep making the same stories over and over again. So when you have a new story or a fresh voice, it scares people. It's not what they know, and if they don't know it, they rather say no, because if they say yes and it doesn't work, then usually those people get fired.
That's right.
And so I understand that what the whole process is, but somehow, and people always say, "How did you get this film made?" And I said, I asked.
For 10 years.
I asked. And I never gave up, you
Right.
know? I never gave up. And I always figured, and at each stage in the progression of this process, I always said, when I walked away from the meeting with Christopher Walken, I said, if this is all that it is, then that's okay. And when I left Chaz, I said, if this is all that it is,
Yeah.
then that's okay. And I had to take the wins when I could take, because people always say, oh, well, when I'm married, I'm going to be happy. And when I have kids, when I'm financially secure, I'm going to be happy. But they forget to be happy every day while life is happening. I was given 2 weeks to live, going on 15 years ago now. And I'm on the extra man on the video game, so every day is a bonus. Every day is exciting. And it makes the sunsets look better, and the food taste better, and the laughs funnier, and the love stronger. Like everything about beating death every day. And yesterday, just a few hours ago even, one different thing.
If the deer jumps instead of crouches.
I'm dead. And so every day is amazing, and the fact that we're here and able to share these moments and it is just extraordinary. So, and the last thing is when the film was finished, talking about those alone moments, we call wrap. It's the last shot. All the trucks pack up. Everybody, all the equipment goes away, and we're shooting the movie in Salt Lake City, and it was in the winter, and they all drive away, and of course I'm the last person there, and I'm standing in the parking lot of a pool hall in Salt Lake City, and I'm alone, and I'm by myself, and the snow is falling on my head, and I look around, and I'm like, if this is all that there is, then that's enough. The movie doesn't have to be successful. If no one even sees it, we made it. I made the film. And of course the film went on to get nominated for an ESPY for Best Sports Film of the Year in 2003. It was voted recently as like one of the top 25 independent films of all time. Like it become
Crazy.
like this unbelievable cult favorite. I can't walk into a casino or a pool room or a poker room anywhere because gamblers love the film, and it gave me the opportunity to do everything else that I've done in my career, and those gentlemen gave me the opportunity to do that, and there isn't a day that goes by that I'm not aware of that.
Yeah. Oh, buddy. Well, I threatened that we would need you to come back. I threatened that we would need more than 2 hours and 52 minutes. We've gone
I have a question.
almost an hour. Please.
As a Twilight Zone nerd, we were discussing this prior to the
Sure.
show that you love. Your favorite episode is Sebastian Cabot, and it's A Nice Place to Visit, which
Nice
is about
Place
a
to
gambler.
Visit, isn't it?
But one of my favorite episodes, I do love that episode, by the way. But one of my easily top 5 is A Game of Pool with Jack Klugman and
Jonathan Winters.
Oh,
Have you
wow.
seen that one?
I have, but so long ago that I don't have the.
It's spectacular.
So Klugman is he's a pool junkie, and he just wants to be the best. He wants to be the best. But Jonathan Winters, who has passed away, is Fats Domino is his pool handle name, and he was living up in heaven, waiting for people to challenge him. And he's like, if I could just challenge him, if he could just come down and I could challenge him. And then he gets his wish, and then he comes down, and then he beats him. But then it's like role reversal.
Yeah.
But that's a great episode.
It's a spectacular episode.
A Game of Pool.
A Game of Pool.
Game
it's
of
called.
Pool.
That's one of 3 Jack Klugman episodes, 3
Yeah.
or 4. Sorry.
Jonathan Winters. Is one of my probably my. We spoke about this before. Probably my all-time favorite comedian.
Funny person.
Yeah, and
Have
John-
you read his? He has a collection of short stories. Have you read them?
No, I haven't. But I had. He was really good friends with Rod Steiger, and so on Rod's birthday, I think it was his 77th birthday, 76th or 77th birthday, I was at his home, and Winters was there, and he had everyone dying. I mean, I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard, and Jonathan Winters was 1,000 years old and sharper than anyone at that party. Had everyone there on the floor, and we're talking like all Hollywood people, all very jaded, very
He was
seen
to
and done
comedy
everything.
what that Fats character was to Pool, and if there's a heaven, he's there waiting for someone to call upon and challenge him. There was nobody better. There's a YouTube video I tell people to check, and I think we talked about it, where he's on the Tonight Show with either Jack Paar or Carson. I think Jack Paar, and he takes a stick. They just hand him a stick, and they say you can improvise anything, and they just hand him a stick, maybe 2 feet wide, 2 feet long. And YouTube this video. He is genius, hilarious, with 7 different scenes using just this stick as a prop. Each of the 7 are wildly different than the last one.
Yeah.
Then he does about 15 more. You think when you get to the end of a half dozen of these, you win, stop. He just keeps going.
No, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are, I did the research, 271 more stories that you need to come back. You need to come back and tell us. It is 9 o'clock. We need to make room for Dr. Drew and Loveline. We have lost the studio. It kills me that we're just getting warmed up, and this hour flew by. I literally 56 minutes because we had a slight late start. But we're going to new studios.
Yeah.
We're getting a whole new setup. When you have time, after you and I work together on your next project, come back.
Do we have 30 seconds to talk about that?
Please.
Before we go?
Go.
Just because it's so new and so
Go.
fresh. It's the Comeback Project, where it's a show called The Four Kings.
Right.
And I was very, very fortunate to I was playing poker in the World Series of Poker, and I saw you, and I said, this is just for the folks that don't know this story, because there's only like 2 people that know it, you and me. But I said, hey, I'm doing this thing, and you were so gracious to say, you know, and the way that Kevin makes things so effortless and so easy is not the way lots of Hollywood people do it, and the graciousness with which you carry yourself and the things that you do and the way how you say things, amazing. I'll carry a spear for you, Callahan, no problem, whatever you need, right? So I said, you know, well, and we had
Never thinking you'd call.
right. and we hadn't worked together before, and so I was like, God, this is a really great opportunity. So I sent you the script, and I said, hey, this is something I'm going to do. I literally have $1.75 to do it with. There's very little money to do this little independent pilot for a TV show, and of course I sent it to you. And most actors, you're waiting for an actor to maybe weeks, months. You know, you texted me back in 25 minutes, and you had read the entire pilot.
It's only a half hour. Let's be clear.
Yeah, but still, you read it right away. I mean,
Yes!
Immediately, and I was so and you were so flattering with you know, how effusive you were about what I had written, and so said such kind things, and it made me really realize that, because I hadn't really sent it to anybody outside of my own personal circle of people that say, hey, that's great, everything I do is great, you know, great, which is awesome, but then you don't really know if it's great, you know, you don't really know if you're there. So, and so for those who don't know, Kevin said yes to doing my show, and now we'll be able to work together for the first time, and it's a wonderful little show. It's kind of like Poolhall Junkies meets Entourage, and we get to go have some fun. And strangely, if, the gentleman who is allowing us to go do this is my dear friend Nick Mao, who he and I have grown up together for 100 years, and he made a few dollars in his life, and he said, "Hey, listen, I'd like to fund this little pilot of yours." And I said, "Really, really? How much do you need?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. How much do you got?" And so he said, "Well, be reasonable here. This is your money too. We'll split it. How about that? You and me, half on the budget of the thing." And I was like, fantastic. So thanks to Nick and you, we have a show, and it's called Four Kings, and we'll be going into production October 22nd.
That's fucking exciting.
Yeah.
And I really am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to talking more about it here with these fine folks, but on the set. And yeah, no, the feeling was genuine. Obviously, it's easy when you're a fan of someone's to say, "I'm a fan. If you have a project and you want me to be a part of it, I'll carry a spear for you." Mm. You try to be careful who you say that to. Mm. I've said it a few other times, not many, but I meant it each time. And thank the universe, as you called it, said the atheist. You sent me a great script, and you made it easy for me to say yes.
Wow.
So you earned, based on your work, the offer, and I'm thrilled to be a part of the project in any way, shape, or form, and here's to a wildly successful series beyond what we're about to shoot.
It's going to be great. We have the cast that's coming together is unbelievable. We got Rob Eiler from The Sopranos, who played Tony Soprano's son for all those years in The Sopranos, and Oleg Krupa, the great, brilliant Polish actors flying in from Poland to go do a little bit in the show with us, and Glenn Plummer, a great veteran actor. A lot, just so I could go on, and so many great people have come.
Well, people are going to hear a lot more about it.
So it's going to be fun. So,
thanks, man.
Thank you so much.
Sorry we were limited, but I can't wait for part 2.
Yeah, well, if ever someone else gets, just call me. I'll be over there in 2 hours.
No, you saved us, and it really, as I explained to you, was not the way I wanted to do this. You were kind enough to save us, and we'll be lucky enough to have you come back. Sit there uncomfortably for 42 seconds while I wrap things up for the people around the planet, but thank you, man.
Thank you.
Honestly
Appreciate
and truly.
Yeah.
We're going to save the Larry King game and all the other treats for when we come back with Mars Callahan. Watch out for more Four Kings and other projects. I'll continue to tweet and talk about them as they're unfolding in production in the next couple of weeks. Jamie, you want to say goodbye to Westwood One Studio?
Goodbye, Westwood One Studio.
Thanks, Gracie. All right, folks. Those of you that are still paying attention to anything that we're saying, good night. This episode of Kevin Pollak's Chat Show